So you see, every single one of us has some sort of pain in their life. But the good thing about pain is that the pain that you're experiencing right now in your life will actually become your wisdom. This exact pain will become the strength in your life. And I'm saying this from experience. I've been through some very dark moments in my life where I couldn't see a way out. I couldn't see how I was going to get out of this, how I was going to get better. And this was including mental health condition, and just my circumstances were destroying me. And there are multiple occasions where I experienced personal crisis. So I've been through darkness, and I assume there is more darkness that I need to go through in life. But the point of that entire experience of pain is that it teaches you something. It teaches you valuable lessons about life, and it builds character. That's the thing. And we all know that, but when we're in the midst of darkness, when we are going through hell on this planet, we tend to forget that there is always a higher reason for that. There is always a divine reason for everything that you're going through. And just being able to remember that truth gives you some sense of inner peace. It gives you some sense of relaxation because you understand that there is a reason for why the divine chose this situation for your life. And all situations in your life, they are specifically made for you because you need to go through them. And that's hard to accept because some part of us wants life to be just this beautiful experience without resistance, without having to fight for things, without going through darkness. But that's not reality, at least not in this 3D world that we live in. So there is duality in this life, and like it or not, you will go through darkness multiple times in your life, and the degree can vary. Now, just because someone is going through darkness, it does not mean that they have the same experience as someone else who is also going through darkness. It's a very individual experience, and that's the thing. There is no guidelines, there is no blueprint for how you need to overcome this darkness, because for the most part, what I've realized is that you don't need to overcome it, you need to go through it. And that's the only way. The only way is true when we talk about darkness. You need to go through the fire so that you become the person you are meant to become in this world. And I'm not saying that you will become a famous person or extremely rich. This doesn't have to do anything with going through darkness. The transformation I'm talking about is purely this character that you're playing needs to go on that journey, and by going through that journey is how this character gets developed. So just remember that when you're going through immense darkness in your life, it's just like this hell on earth experience. You don't know how you're going to keep moving forward another second. It's like there is something that it's weighing you down all the time. Yeah, I know about these situations, and I can tell you that although you may not see the reason of why you need to go through that right now in your life, I can assure you 100% guaranteed that there is a reason, and once you are through that period, once you're through that darkness, you will actually, if you're introspective enough, you actually take a step back and see, okay, I actually really needed that darkness to become the person I am today. And that's the thing, the more pain you experience, the more wisdom you will gain. And the more wisdom you have, living wisdom, not just wisdom you've read somewhere or you watched a video about, like real living wisdom, where it's the wisdom is part of you. You don't need to practice wisdom. It's wisdom being practiced by itself. It's not really even being practiced. It's just living wisdom that you have. And that kind of wisdom, which is true wisdom, not intellectual knowledge, can only be developed by going through life, by going through hellish experiences, because they teach you the most. And you probably know that. You probably have heard everything that I've said here already. But it's good to get kind of reminded once again that this entire thing, life, is not just some meaningless experience. It's school. We came here to learn and to evolve. So the way you learn, that's the thing, we're created in such a way as human beings, not our soul, but we as this character that we're playing, we don't change unless our back is against the wall. Unless we have no other choice, life has pressured us and we have no other way to go, then we change. That's how we change. Before that, we tend to avoid it because change is uncomfortable. We want to stay where we are at because it feels familiar, it feels safe. And even though we may not like the circumstances that we're in, well, at least not 100% we like them, we still may not change anything about them because they're safe, they're familiar, and there is no risk involved. So there is no point of changing anything. And that's when personal crisis come. That's when midlife crisis comes. That's why crisis comes. It's that something needs to be changed. Something needs to shift internally. And very often that happens through immense pressure. So the pressure that you're feeling in your life is actually a good thing, even though it doesn't feel like it. I know it doesn't feel like it, but it's a good thing. And it's way better to at least try to trust the unfolding of your life. It's hard to do because we have expectations, because we have desires, because we want certain things in life. And it's very hard to trust the unfolding of our life because very often your life does not unfold according to your expectations. It unfolds the way it was meant to unfold. And this does not mean that you will become miserable, because everything that is unfolding, it's for your highest good. And then there comes the paradox. Do I just accept whatever life throws at me? Do I just accept my present circumstances, or do I do my best to change them? Well, we do both. We accept whatever life presents us, and we also do our best to create a life that fulfills us. That's the golden middle way, so to say. You still accept, but you also do your best to put yourself in environments and situations that are beneficial to you. That's like the role that we need to play, because life is a cooperation. Life throws something at you, be it something good or bad or neutral, and then it's your turn. So it's your turn to do something about it. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to use whatever life gives you for the highest purpose of your life? And that's not something that you really need to sit and think deeply about. I'm telling you, most realizations that I've had in my life about life, spirituality, philosophy, uh, every almost all realizations that I've had, they just seem to come out of nowhere. I'm doing whatever I'm doing and I'm just open, and then realizations come. It's not that I sit and think very deeply, and it's just how this character is wired. It's that this is my path, and it's very beneficial to find out what your path is. And you don't find your path by searching for it. That's the thing. Yes, there is a stage where you're seeking your path, you're searching for it, like very hard. You're searching, you're seeking, you're looking. What's my path? What's my purpose? What do I need to do? And that's a necessary stage. But later, you realize that you were always on your path and you cannot get off your path. You're always on your path. You're always in alignment. You're always where you need to be. But because this game of life needs to function properly, there needs to be a sense of individuality. There needs to be a sense of individual responsibility about your life. And that's the game. So even though we realize that we're not in control of anything on the deepest level, we still participate as though we were in control of everything. That's the ultimate paradox when it comes to earthly life. It's that you remember you're not in control of anything and nothing actually depends on you, but you act as though everything depends on you. And that's balance. And that's something that when you are on the spiritual path, you get at the beginning stages, you 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 fall. Well, not everyone, but most people, and I'm guilty of this too. I have fallen into this trap um, uh, on my earlier journey, is that because now we have some level of understanding about things, meaning we know that we're not in control, we know that the divine is doing everything, we tend to fall into the trap of not wanting to play our part. And that's a big trap. Like, the divine will do everything for me and I don't have to do anything. That's a big, big trap. And that's when you move further along your journey, you see that this doesn't work. The more you don't do anything and you just kind of throw your hands up and say, God will take care of everything, the more you do that, the worse it gets. The worse it gets, because you must learn to remember the ultimate truth, which is that the divine is the doer of everything and you're not responsible for anything in your life. But at the same time, the game of life is to be completely engaged, to immerse yourself completely in the game and act as though everything depends on you. That's um, the next stage after realizing the truth, which is that God is doing everything. That is the next stage. And then you learn to do that. And why do we need both? Why is that paradox actually a truth? Because how is this beneficial? How is this beneficial? Well, if you get too much in your head, you're like obsessed over doing things, then you can take a step back and relax a little and remember that whatever will happen will happen. Whatever is destined for you will find you. So you can take a step back mentally, not on the way, not by stopping to do things, not by stopping to take action, but mentally take a step back and relax a little. And also, when you're doing too little, when you fall into the trap of thinking that God will somehow provide everything for you without you having to play part in this thing, then there comes the grounding principle, which is you need to be grounded in this reality. Even though, yes, we're spiritual beings having a temporary human experience, we all know that in the spiritual communities, but we need to be grounded in this reality because this is where we are right now and we came here. We didn't go to another dimension, we didn't go to another reality. We came on earth. So there are some certain rules and principles that need to be followed on this planet. So we need to play by the rules. We need to learn the game. And once we learn the game properly, then we can play it properly. So we need to be very grounded and very practical about things, because it doesn't do you any good to learn all about the theories and you know all the dimensions and spirit guides and this and that. This has its place and time, of course. I'm not saying these things are wrong. I'm saying that they need to be grounded in this reality. Because if you're watching a video about some theory about what the next dimension is, how does this actually help you right now? It may help you to gain a broader perspective and realize that this is not the only reality. Yes, but how does it help you on a practical level? So it helps you on a spiritual level, of course, but we also need things that help us on a practical level. We need both. We need to combine spirituality with practicality, and that's being whole. That's how you are still spiritual, but you're also grounded in this reality. That's essential. So the topic of this video was that your pain will become your wisdom and your strength. And I I digressed a little, but yeah, that's how it flows. So yeah, your pain is something that you cannot avoid. Life will cause you pain multiple times. But that's not what's most important. What's most important is How are you going to alchemize that pain into something positive for your life? How are you going to channel that pain? Into what are you going to channel it? The best art, or one of the best arts, are created by channeling pain. One of the best musical pieces are created by channeling pain. One of the biggest businesses are created by channeling pain. One of the best things in this world are created by channeling pain. So you see how pain is accelerating your growth, is accelerating your evolution and your spiritual wisdom. Because once you learn to take whatever life presents you and actually alchemize it and transform it, then your entire life changes drastically, and the way you look at pain is different. It's not that you stop experiencing pain. That's also a trap that you might fall into, thinking that, oh, once I learn to use what life gives me and alchemize it, then I don't I am invincible. I Like, pain doesn't affect me anymore, which is not the truth. You still feel the pain, you still feel the darkness, but now what you do with it, that's a different story. So learn, well, how do you learn that? How do you learn to become an alchemist? You just allow it to flow through you. That's the thing. You step out of your own way. When you experience pain, it, it stays with you for a while, but then it wants to move forward. It wants to come out. And then you need to have some creative endeavor, which it could be anything. You could be making art, or you could be just writing. You could be designing clothing. You could be going out and exercising. Whatever you feel like this pain is moving you to do, that's exactly where you need to lean on. And now, a disclaimer, we're talking about good things, about positive things in life. If it moves you to hurt someone, then don't do that, because that's not a positive way of channeling your pain. So just be aware of when pain happens, and then be conscious of what are you choosing to do with it. And that's how your pain will become wisdom. And pain becomes wisdom automatically also. The more you live life, the more you're conscious while you're living your life, the more wisdom you will gain, because that's just a natural process. The more you live life in a more conscious way, with more awareness, yes, then the wisdom is an automatic byproduct of you living with more awareness. So the name of the game is awareness. That's the name of the game. It's awareness, and being as conscious and aware of everything that is happening, because awareness itself is the ultimate transformative power. Awareness itself is what turns pain into wisdom. Awareness itself is what creates everything. So if we can be more aware, and you don't become more aware by trying hard to be aware, this doesn't work. You get exhausted by thinking you're doing something. But just bring your attention here. That's being aware. When it goes somewhere, bring it back here. That's practicing being aware. That's That's the ultimate practice of awareness. This is what I also do when I meditate. When my mind wanders somewhere, I bring it back here. This practice is what will teach you to be more aware in life. That's the only thing you can do. And you don't need to sit down and meditate to do that. Even though in meditation, it's kind of a different thing. If you resonate with it, then you should totally do it. At least that's my path for now. I've been meditating for 7, 8, or 9 years. I don't know. I don't count. But ever since my late teens, I started meditating back then. And I've had a few breaks here and there. But for the most part, I'm meditating daily. And that's what I do. I just bring back my awareness. And you can do this at every single second of your waking life. And that is the spiritual practice. Do that, and everything else will sort itself. Not magically with a magic wand, but naturally, smoothly, gradually. That's how things happen. This reality is slow. Things happen slowly, they take time. So patience is a big thing here. So yeah, I think that's enough for today. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Like the video. This helps the channel a lot. It helps me spread my message. And also, I have a clothing brand. You can check it out if you're interested. Link is down in the description. The brand is called Jackal Studio X. This t-shirt is from there. It's inspirational clothing. And yeah, that's it for today. I'll catch you on the next video. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.